The death of Nazi leader Adolf Hitler continues to court controversy and speculation more than 60 years after his publicized suicide. U.S. scientists claim that the only remnant of the dictator, a part of his skull kept in Russia, actually belonged to a woman.
What happened the day the notorious Nazi dictator Adolf Hitler died? Over 60 years later, the mystery lives on. Hitler's only remains are his jawbone and his skull, both kept in an archive in Russia. But American archaeologist Nick Bellantoni and geneticist Linda Strasbaugh say the skull actually belongs to a woman under 40 years old.
You know, Hitler was a middle-sized male, and usually males in our species are bigger, more robust, the bone is thicker. This bone, it was very small, very fragile, and very thin in terms of the plate. And I remember looking at it initially and I saying, gee, more like a woman or a small man. Somebody I would expect to be 20 to 40 years of age. And Hitler was 56 years old when he died.
The traditional version of his death says Hitler and the love of his life and new bride, Eva Braun, committed suicide on April 30th, 1945. The dictator is said to have taken a pill and shot himself in the head. After being discovered, Hitler's and Braun's bodies were burnt. Later, a jawbone and then a skull were found and claimed to have belonged to the dictator. Nick isn't the only one saying the skull kept in Moscow has nothing to do with Hitler. His colleague Linda carried out DNA testing on pieces that Nick somehow managed to bring to the U.S. from Russia.
We had two moments that were eureka moments. The first was when we actually were able to get DNA. The second was when we saw the profile, because then it was clear to us that that was not the skull of a man.
Forensic expert Viktor Zvyagin says the tests carried out by Bellantoni are far from enough to find the truth.
Making assumptions about whether a skull belongs to a man or a woman visually is impossible.
The expert says the characteristics of the skull do not simply indicate the age of the person.
The marks that we have here on this skull mean it belonged either to a person of 20 to 24 years of age or to a person who regularly suffered strong headaches.
Back in the U.S., archaeologist Bellantoni isn't convinced and says all the confusion is caused by an assumption made a long time ago.
A soldier working near the crater finds this bone, and it's got a bullet hole, and it's burnt. And I think an assumption was made. This must be Hitler.
Scientists and hungry minds all over the globe are pushing to reveal the truth behind Hitler's death. And even though one of the most infamous figures in world history has long been gone, the truth is still out there, and answers to the mystery are yet to be discovered. Anastasia Churkina, RT, Mansfield, Connecticut.